Everyone. Good morning. So let's jump right in with our invocation. Welcome to our Board of Commissioners regular meeting. We've got Reverend Ferdinand Akaya from the God Power Healing Ministry here with us. Please approach the podium, and we will all stand up for that invocation, and that'll be followed by the pledge by Officer Ashley Frazier.
We all may stand, please, to give honor to the Lord. You are highly lifted, Lord. There is no one like you. Highly, 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 highly. Hallelujah. Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, we thank you for this privilege, for this day, for our county, Cobb County. Father, Lord, may you protect and guide it and give the wisdom to this house, that whatever they do, Father, Lord, it should be for the interest of the people, not for their own interest. Father, we thank you for the mighty protection. Give them wisdom as you gave Solomon in the days of ancients. Father, also protect this house from every discord spirit, confusional spirit, spirit of discord, rebelliousness, and disunity, that the works of this house may produce prosperity, blessing in this county. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we say amen, and amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this meeting is now called to order, which will bring us to our first presentation. Commissioner Burrell.
Good morning, everyone. If I could have the Town Center CID and Alliance and our airport manager, Stephen Spencer, and our DOT director, Drew Ressler, and anyone else that would like to join us. So, this proclamation is to recognize the Town Center CID and Alliance. In 2017, they were gracious enough as a partner with many other things, usually DOT projects and roadways, but in this instance, we got a passive park in my district. And at the time, I didn't have any passive parks in my district. So Aviation Park, right next to the airport, is gorgeous. You can come and watch the planes fly over, land, and take off. There's a STEM playground that kids can enjoy and a picnic pavilion where you can come and have lunch and then watch the planes and then play on the playground. Well, the last kiosk has been installed, and it's an educational tour as well for school kids, adults, teenagers, anyone, to come and learn about the aviation history in Cobb. And it's right at the airport in Town Center area. And we're just very grateful to be able to partner with the CID and the Alliance to have this gem in Cobb County. So, whereas Aviation Park opened in November of 2017 as a collaboration between the Town Center Community Improvement District and Cobb County government to convert nearly 3 acres of underutilized vacant property into a themed environment for all ages to enjoy. And whereas the park features open green space, a STEM playground, an airplane-shaped climbing structure, a pavilion, restroom facilities, plenty of parking, and a replica of the nearby airport control tower. And whereas the Town Center Alliance worked with the Department of Museums, Archives, and Rare Books of Kennesaw State University to develop a full suite of outdoor exhibits of panels, photographs, oral histories, and interactive elements. These elements engage visitors in the exploration of aviation history, the science of flight, and jobs in aviation, and more. And whereas created in alignment with the Georgia Standards of Excellence, the exhibits are now a free outdoor field trip and homeschooling destination for local students, complete with a teacher packet for K through 5 students. The final installations were completed on May 30th, 2023, and a ribbon cutting is set for June 27th. And therefore, we, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim our appreciation to the Town Center CID and Town Center Alliance for their contributions and partnership with the county to complete the park's exhibits, creating an educational space for students. And we encourage everyone to visit the park and learn about aviation history in Cobb County. This is the 13th day of June, 2023. Thank you. So, you want to tell us a little bit more? I know there's yoga in the park.
There is yoga in the park. Commissioner, thank you so much. This was a partnership project, like all of our projects, working with the county and the airport and the Alliance to create a green space that started with an idea to just have restrooms along the Noonday Creek Trail, and then grew out of that into be a park for people to come and have picnics and parties under the pavilion, and really a place for the entire community to enjoy. And then Jennifer, in her work with the Alliance, and Chris Martin as a board member, started to program the events that are happening there at the park. So we have yoga in the park this summer. You can come and learn how to ride a bike if you haven't done that yet, or bring your kid with REI, and lots of other opportunities for our community. So thank you to the county. This is now a county-owned park that we help collaborate with for the partnership, and it's just an example of what we can do when we work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. This is Tracy Stife with the Town Center CID, Jennifer Hogan with the Alliance, and Chris Martin, board member of the Alliance. And of course, Stephen Spencer, our airport manager, and Drew Ressler, our DOT director. They all played a big part in this. And Carl. Carl couldn't be with us today. So thank you all. Congratulations, and we appreciate our partnership. Thank you. Now we got to get a picture.
3, 2, 1. More. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. What a great acknowledgement of a fantastic asset in the county. All right, on to our public hearings. So we're moving in, we have 3 public hearings today, which, Bill, I'll defer to you to kind of go over the rules for the public hearing, but we'll have the first presentation of, yeah.
Sure, it's 3 minutes, unlimited speakers. And I think the first one is item number 2, to be presented by our Community Development Director, Jessica Gwynn.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Jessica Gwynn, Cobb County Community Development Director. This morning we have a request for a Chattahoochee Corridor certificate. This is a property that they'll be developing a single-family home. I believe it's 81 Sherwood. So they'll be developing a single-family home, and it's been reviewed by the Atlanta Regional Commission in accordance with the Chattahoochee Corridor Master Plan, and has been determined to be compliant with that plan. So this morning we would just ask that the Board of Commissioners open the public hearing, and then I'd be glad to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I guess the public hearing is open. Everyone has heard the instructions on how they operate. Would anyone like to approach? Thank you.
No, the only comment I have is I'm sitting there and I can't understand a word she said right there. So don't even know what it's about.
State your name as well, sir, for the record. State your name for the record. Craig.
Oh, my name's Craig Harfoot, and thank you. So I don't have a comment because I don't know what she said.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Just for clarification, this is a hearing on the approval of a Chattahoochee Corridor Plan certificate for a single-family residence at 81 Sherwood Lane. Any other comments want to come up? Any other speakers? All right. Well, I will close the hearing. And I believe we take a vote at this point in time, so.
Yes, that's
Are
correct.
there statements that the commissioners like to take before we go into that part?
Yes, this has had all the approvals from ARC and
Yes, that's correct. And for Mr. Harfoot, I'm glad to expand just the Metropolitan River Protection Act requires that for properties located within that Chattahoochee corridor, if there is development proposed, those have to be reviewed by the Atlanta Regional Commission in accordance with the Chattahoochee Corridor Master Plan, which of course is the master plan that serves as a policy guide for development of that corridor. So that review has been conducted. It's been determined that this proposal to build a single-family home on that property is compliant with the Chattahoochee Corridor Master Plan. So yes, we appreciate a vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I will move to approve this Chattahoochee Corridor Plan Certificate of Compliance.
second.
All right, discussion? And call to question.
Thank you.
The motion passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Cupid absent. Next public hearing should be brought up by Drew, DOT.
Good morning, Commissioners. Drew Essler, Cobb DOT. The department has one public hearing this morning. The department has worked with the district commissioner to make selections from the 2022 sidewalk program. In accordance with state law, the board is required to conduct a public hearing prior to expending county funds of $100,000 or more to employ an independent consultant or consulting firm, or to conduct an independent study or survey. To implement the upcoming 2022 SPOS TIPS sidewalk projects, the department anticipates awarding engineering design contracts that could exceed that $100,000 limit. Therefore, the department recommends the Board of Commissioners conduct a public hearing prior to expending $100,000 or more for engineering design services for 2022 SPOS Transportation Improvements Program sidewalk projects.
Thank you, Drew. I will declare this public hearing open.
Oh, my name's Craig Harfoot, and the comment I have is that I've seen these things come up all the time, and yet in a very short amount of time, not like 2 or 3 meetings down the road, you're voting to, it's like the study's already on the shelf. They pull it out. They know it's going to cost more, so they say, oh, but it's almost like it's prepackaged, and there's no real time for them to, it doesn't start now. It's already done, and now they're coming after the fact, and it's like it's all predetermined, and suddenly kick off the project. And it seems a little not transparent. I mean, if that much work is that much into it, and now you're just saying, oh, should we even do it? It's already done. And that's what I think is the biggest problem.
Thank you. Any other speakers? All right, Drew, I will close this public hearing. Drew, are there any responses that you can provide or any additional clarity you can provide on the process for sidewalk selection and how the project comes to?
Of course. So there's a sidewalk component within the 2022 SPOS program that we work collaboratively with each of the district commissioners to make selections from. And then once we are ready to award a contract, before we can award a construction contract, we've got to design the project. In order to design, we go through really a three-step process with board meetings, many more steps than that behind the scenes. But on May 9th, the board authorized conduct of this public hearing. That included the list of potential sidewalk projects. This public hearing was advertised in the NBJ on May 12th, 19th, and 26th. And then, of course, after this public hearing, that authorizes us to move forward with determining who is best suited to perform that design contract. That design contract then comes back before the board for approval, and then we go through that design process. That construction contract comes back before the board. So at a minimum, seeing this project at least 4 times, or these projects, I should say.
Okay, thank you for that detail. Are there any other questions from the other commissioners?
Drew, the 2022 SPLOST has a component for sidewalk funding, but not designated. So this is ones that were selected as a group, because usually we have the sidewalks that come back to us for approval on a separate agenda item. But since there's 3, and we know sidewalks cost $1 million a mile now, is this just for additional money, or is this coming out of the sidewalk funding?
No, ma'am, this comes, you're correct. The SPLOST program includes a general component for sidewalks, but it does not designate any specific projects. So we have taken that and have met with each of you to make those selections. And those selections include an anticipated budget, where we look at design right-of-way utilities and construction costs that are anticipated within each of the individual sidewalk segments for selection. And then we make a financially constrained selection, which is what we see here today, is these 3 projects are within that financially constrained, within what we believe to be available with the budget for that sidewalk component. And then this authorizes us to move forward with the design and then ultimately the construction of those 3 projects.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Certainly, I can share for my list. I had about 9 that came in as requests, and so this is based upon the analysis, what rose to the top. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right. On to the next public hearing. We are busy today. We've got the county attorney's office conduct a public hearing. Thank you.
Good morning, members of the Board of Commissioners. My name is Brian Johnson. I'm with the County Attorney's Office. For your consideration this morning is the first of 2 public hearings to revise amend Chapter 134 of our Cobb County Code relating to zoning. This is pursuant to following under the Georgia Zoning Procedures Act, which is a state law that sets forth minimums as to how we process applications, how we conduct hearings. This applies to all 600 plus jurisdictions, local government jurisdictions in the state that actually engage in zoning, Cobb County being one of them. We must fall into compliance with the Zoning Procedures Act and all of our zoning code hearings and how we process applications. The most important thing about this proposed package of amendments is that these do not amend any text or text of the zoning regulations, nothing into the substance of our districts. This is just as to procedures, how we conduct hearings, and how zoning decisions are appealed, and how they're treated in the appeals process. In 2022, the General Assembly passed House Bill 1405, and what it did amended and changed the zoning procedures so as to delineate differences between what a zoning decision is, which is what we consider in rezoning applications, versus what a quasi-judicial decision might be, which are special uses and variances that the Board of Zoning Appeals considers every month. The legislation addressed specifically as to what is a legislative function versus what is considered a trial court decision, which is quasi-judicial. So that is what we are following up here today to propose these amendments to our county code to maintain compliance with state law. The primary amendments include, regarding zoning decisions, that these apply to rezoning applications that are heard before the Board of Commissioners, which are only made final by the Board of Commissioners. These appeals are made to the Superior Court, and it's considered a de novo standard of review, which means new evidence can be considered. Quasi-judicial decisions include standalone variances that the BZA hears and special uses. It also includes administrative appeals coming up from our decisions from our departmental staff. Of course, these include appeals to and from the Board of Zoning Appeals, and these are considered a review of the record. Now, also changing July 1st of 2023 is how the state considers review of the records. It's formerly known as certiorari, but the state law is changing to call it review of the record. And that's when the record is sent up to the Superior Court for a review, and that's what they look at to see if there's any arbitrariness to any decisions that were made. Also proposed in these changes, we're codifying what we already have in our procedures or our rules of procedure, which include requiring agendas, presentation time, how witnesses are treated and how they're sworn in, and voting on these applications. In addition, pursuant to House Bill 1405, proposed code amendments include the 30 days notice going out for all quasi-digital decisions. We already do that in our code, but this just codifies what the state law is requiring so that quasi-judicial decisions have 30 days notice that goes out to applicants. The county clerk may accept service for all Chapter 134 related matters, and it also authorizes the Board of Commissioners and the Board of Zoning Appeals chairs to execute certain documents related to the review of the record. In summary, the proposed code amendments do not alter or amend any zoning text or district regulations. These amendments are made to ensure compliance with House Bill 1405 and addresses only procedural and appeals processes pursuant to the updated Georgia Zoning Procedures Act. Again, these are minimal changes. We're codifying what state law is requiring, and these do not affect any text or anything in the district regulations for zoning. Again, this is the first of two public hearings. The second public hearing will occur at the end of the month, the evening meeting before the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you. All right, I open the public hearing.
Daniel Larkin, Meadowbrook. Is this proposal in any way related to the effort to change the zoning of single-family dwellings? I'm not sure about all the legal speak. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Could I ask the county attorney that? Is the effort to revisit zoning single-family areas to there's a fancy catchword and I don't know what it is, but to revisit and open up single-family zoning areas for apartment buildings and such. Is that related to this?
Sir, this is your opportunity to have public comment. It's not an exchange back and forth. So you can provide your public comment, and if you want to have an exchange with the county attorney afterwards, and you can talk to him.
Thank you. But is that part of this? May I ask you that? Is that part of this?
Just as general commentary here, we are noting the questions that you ask, and we'll have staff refer to those questions at the end of the hearing.
Okay, thank you. I'll speak again. Thank you. I just didn't know. It's kind of confusing legal speak to me. I don't really understand it, but I know that there's some kind of effort underway to change the zoning of single-family areas to allow for apartment buildings and such. Thank you.
My name's Craig Harfoot. Good morning. He should be concerned. When the House gets involved, we know there's more things coming. But the way it is, we've had zoning since I've been around in this county, since I bought property in '89. But all through the 2008 run-up, everything got zoned denser. And then if they didn't like it, they would run to court, the developers and the banks, and they'd say, hey, we want higher density. And All you gotta need is an activist judge, and all of a sudden, you got higher density. But, you know, the whole, what I would say is, people should be allowed to build what they want, but they should be putting in their own infrastructure. You know, we made the biggest mistake in the world going to providing sewers and water, and now we're polluting the Chattahoochee with pharmaceuticals flushed down everybody's toilet when they excrete them. And it's like, there's no end to it. And these laws, they need more scrutiny, but it seems that the way things are going, they're going to try to take things out of your hands. You know, the commission, you won't have as much say. All you got to do is get the right judges elected. Boy, have we seen that lately. And even in our Supreme Court, some friend that's in the rental business, you got the Clarence Thomas case going on. There's more. So, I mean, judges are human. They're just people. And the thing is, it's the money. You know, it's always been the money. But highest and best use is not about money, because look at the homeless thing now. And the judicial cases that got, the one that was in the 9th District that said that you can't kick the homeless off the public places. And so everybody's falling in line. And, you know, we haven't done that here in Metro Atlanta. I watched them round up the homeless people before the bubble busted. And anyhow, if you really care about people, you'll be real careful with this stuff.
Any other speakers for our public hearing? Okay, with that, yes. Yeah, I will close the public hearing, and I do want to address Mr. Larkin's concern. Do we understand the catalyst for this House bill within the state legislature, and what is related to?
2 points I would make in following up to the comments and to these questions. House Bill 1405 was a direct result of Georgia Supreme Court decisions which over the past few years had addressed zoning appeals and processes. And so you had a few of those decisions which didn't clear up the process very much. And so the legislature followed up with House Bill 1405 to streamline and to codify what those Supreme Court decisions had rendered and to make more clear how specific zoning applications are treated. And so that's why House Bill 1405 came to fruition through the legislature. It was following up to Supreme Court decisions. As to what is in House Bill 1405, there are provisions in there which restrict wholesale changes of zoning districts, whether it's from residential to multifamily or commercial, without having specific public hearings and notice, but we already have those in our code. We already have them as part of our process. But because we didn't need to change that, they're not part of this proposed code amendment package. That is just now part of state law. And anyone is welcome to go read House Bill 1405 if they desire.
Thank you. And so it sounds like there are other jurisdictions around the state, the country, what have you, that made decisions without having public input or without having due process, and so
Potentially,
this is to make sure that all
the Zoning
jurisdictions-
Procedures Act has set forth having dual public hearings and certain notice requirements. There are still many jurisdictions in the state and in other states, in Georgia and in other states, that don't engage in zoning at all.
Okay.
And this sought to address some of those issues. But again, there's a lot in a House Bill 1405, but this proposed code amendment package addresses what we need to alter or amend in our Cobb County code to come into compliance and stay in compliance with state law.
Thank you.
No, actually. You already cleared it up for me, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Burrow?
Thank you. I understand that the proper notice has been given in the legal organ, the MDJ. But we had a letter yesterday that I submitted for the record from East Cobb Civic Association, with concerns that these weren't posted online or sent out to them. I know it's a cleanup for state law, but is there any way we can extend the vote till the following meeting, or do we have to do it on the night meeting in June?
This law came into effect in July 1st of 2022 with a one-year period of time to come into compliance. So we are going to run out of time on July 1st if we don't include these into our zoning code. So I would not advise or recommend we delaying any vote after the second public hearing. I know that the county adhered to all the notice provisions, but as a courtesy, I don't think, perhaps it wasn't sent out, but they were included. The Planning Commission made a recommendation of approval as well.
Right. Okay, and so if we can't extend it, then the letter that I sent to the clerk yesterday will be submitted for the record today, and then there's another opportunity at our June 25th meeting to speak publicly during the hearing, before the vote.
That is correct. That is a public hearing just like this one.
Okay, thank you. And I need to submit my statement to the clerk.
And certainly on to the point that Commissioner Burrow brought up, there may be an opportunity for future state mandated changes like this, that we have some type of communicative procedure tied to it, similar to that of when we do the code amendments.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, any other? Go ahead.
And this is not related to you, Brian, but if the clerk can please record my statement as shown on page 359 of the current agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other questions for Brian?
Thank you.
Thank you, you're dismissed.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, into public comment. Bill, if you could.
Certainly, as the board provides the podium for public comment, it's appropriate to review the related meeting rules. When you approach for public comment, please state your name, and if you are speaking on behalf of an organization, all comments should be addressed through the chair. Public comment is not a dialogue with the board, but an opportunity for speakers to provide their comments to the board. The comments should not be impertinent, derogatory, offensive, or slanderous. To that end, the board encourages, regardless of the topic, for the audience to be respectful and courteous to the speakers. Everyone attending this meeting should give others the right to both listen and to be heard by treating each other with civility. Statements made during the public comments portion of the don't necessarily reflect the opinions of the board or the administration of Cobb County government. There's a timer on the podium that keeps track of your 5-minute timer. And the first public speaker is Daniel Larkin.
Thank you. Please state your name and general area so that the district assistants can.
Yes, ma'am.
Connect.
Daniel Larkin. I'm from Meadowbrook. I have two things to address. One is in regards to zoning, and the other one is in the tax increases. Quickly, the zoning thing, the word, and I apologize, I didn't have it when I came up here before. I should have had that ready. It's called, the phrase is called adapt exclusionary zoning. And I didn't know if that was part of the attorney's talk. I'm not sure what was in that. But basically, that's what protects single-family neighborhoods from someone putting an apartment building or a duplex or right next door to you. And I think that protects the sanctity of neighborhoods and have a single-family dwelling. And I wrote like 3 sentences on that. The strategic plan to undermine the sanctity of the single-family home. I never thought I'd see the day when the phrase single-family dwelling was a dirty word. Instead of families having their own private dwelling that could transfer intergenerational wealth, we are heading towards a generation of forever renters. A home should be paid for by the retirement years. Are retirees to be saddled with rent until death? And then the other part I wrote is in regards to the tax increases. We are deeply concerned about the proposed tax property increases. Housing costs are already a burden to our citizens, and now this. We are going from the American dream, which is home ownership, towards apartment 3C. Renters will be affected even more by these proposed increases because the landlords don't have a homestead exemption on that rental income. People are already feeling the stress of inflation, and the people must make do. The county must make do also. Cobb County is not the affordable place for families it once was. That is why I moved here from Massachusetts. Now it is happening here. Housing costs and taxes need to go down, not up. Increasing said costs puts more stress on families and especially the elderly. As I talk to people on the street, it is said that Cobb is not affordable. Is this your idea of how to better Cobb County? If so, there will be assuredly a fierce backlash at the ballot box. This is a big deal, and commissioners, you alone have the voice to be for the people or against the people. Make no mistake about it, you hold many household budgets in your hands, and therefore the well-being of these households. The school board voted to increase taxes, but the commissioners are ultimately responsible for approving their vote. To increase some budgets and leave the general fund the same, therefore setting up the false claim that taxes did not go up. We are also well aware that this has nothing to do with raising police pay. That was already built into last year's fund. Taxes on us have been increased, yet the chairwoman's property tax did not go up. The citizens of Cobb have seen a large tax increase, yet curiously enough, the chairwoman's assessed values did not go up in 2022 or 2023. Mine went up like $82,000. They didn't get to her neighborhood, I guess. So her taxes won't go up this year. Pull her tax records and check for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
The next public speaker is Matt Stegall.
Good morning. My name is Matt Stegall. I do serve on the Transit Advisory Board, and I've been a resident for this county off and on for over 30 years. I do have some notes here about sidewalks and mobility that I want to go through, but I do want to respond to a previous comment about housing affordability. And it has been shown, looking at data, that one of the biggest causes of the housing affordability crisis is supply. And just that, some of our restrictive zoning has limited the ability for us to build supply and for people to have affordable places to live. So I just want to make sure that that is well known and understood. So back to the sidewalks mobility. I just want to first off thank Commissioner Gambrell. You and Chairwoman Cupid, we celebrated ribbon cutting last week for the pedestrian improvements and bike trails around Kennesaw Mountain National Park. And I thought one of the quotes, Marietta Mayor Steve Tumlin was there as well, and he said that even though some people didn't want the trails, it was interesting that people were already using the trails while the concrete was being poured. And I thought that was a very interesting note, and something that I have noticed as well, that even though like people think that people aren't using these trails, I drive by Cheatham Hill Road all the time, Burnt Hickory Road, where these trails are being put, and every day I'm seeing people bike and walk these trails, which is great. And it's a continuation of building trails all around the county, and I can't wait to see more. I know we've got the Noonday Creek Trail extension that we're working on, Bob Callan Trail, Rottenwood Creek Trail, the Riverlands Project, Silver Comet Connector, Austell Powder Springs. All of these will continue to create a safe bike network for people who bike around the county, and I look forward to seeing more and more of those built throughout the county. these trails are great and for recreation, and they do serve a purpose for mobility. And last month, we also rode along the Noonday Creek Trail, and I thought it was interesting, two things. One was the contrast between where there's kind of a greenway part of the trail, and then the other part where you're biking along some heavily industrial, high-traffic roads. The difference in feeling safe as a bike rider, the difference in just the entire experience was very notable. And I also noticed that when we were close to the trailhead on Bell's Ferry, we saw multiple people carrying groceries. I guess there's a local grocery store, pharmacy, somewhere near there, to using the trail to take their groceries from the grocery store to the apartment complex. And I was just, I thought that was great because that's a car off the road. And that's, as we continue to grow, that's, I think, one of the best ways that we can make sure that we grow without adding to congestion. And as I did notice how great we are at building trails, I have also taken transit and walked along some of our arterial corridors over the course of last month. Highway 41, Atlanta Road, South Cobb Drive, East-West Connector, things like that. And the inconsistency of sidewalks, especially near transit stops, is something that it's just something that you only experience if you're not driving by it. And, especially South Cobb Drive, all of those, there's definitely inconsistencies of sidewalks going up and down. And so as we look at, just how we continue to grow as a county and continue to invest in our infrastructure, I do think that making sure that infrastructure allows safety and comfort for people who take transit, walk from place to place, bike from place to place. I think it's just something that continues to need to be prioritized. And I look forward to seeing the growth of that in the county. So anyways, those were just a few of my notes, and just wanted to kind of celebrate some of the good things that have been happening. And I look forward to seeing more of it in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next public speaker is Albert Puckett. Mr. Puckett not coming forward. The next public speaker is Craig Harfoot.
Good morning. My name's Craig Harfoot. $1 million a mile for a sidewalk. I hope that includes storm drains, but that's absurd. I mean, I watched them build sidewalks in front of Johnson's Ferry Baptist Church. They used the Department of Corrections people from the farm, formed it up, put the sidewalk down. I'm sure it didn't cost $1 million a mile per foot if you broke it down. But anyhow, affordability in apartments. Well, I lived in an apartment when I first got to Atlanta on the south side. East Point, College Park, moved around in there a while. But I'll tell you, they catch fire. Actually, some kid lived up above me and came home drunk, smoking, and I wake up to smoke. Now, that's a scary feeling. And but I'll tell you, didn't even burn through the sheetrock. Well, the owner of that complex was the fire chief, and the fire station was down the street. They put it out real quick. Could have been bad. And the way we do stuff now, first responders, heart attack first, and accidents, and fires the last thing they do. There's houses that burnt down near me because they responded to a heart attack at Home Depot. A girl across the street got hit, and a little fire burned a whole house down. So apartments, and you don't even make them sprinkler everything in the past. I mean, that's something. But anyhow, affordability. The denser we get, the more unaffordable we are. If you look at the biggest cities in the country, they have the highest taxes. It's all about people. The closer they get, the more friction, the more police calls, and that's the way it really is. So the gentleman that says, yeah, we should have suburban, that's fine. what we need is a reset on prices. I mean, it seems to me that BlackRock and Airbnb did more to screw up the price of affordable homes in this county and across the country than anything. And it's still ongoing. I think these office buildings that nobody wants to go to because they don't have the money to commute to them. I don't even think that the millennials would have the money for the $100+ a month it would cost to ride a MARTA trip. Plus the fact that then they got to eat down, in those areas and all. And I talked to the Public Service Commissioner. I texted him, one of them. And I said, well, why don't they go put solar on these buildings that they're all tall and where the sun faces them, and build out half of them residential, half of them the office, and then, problem solved. You don't even need transportation then. You're living in the building. And guess what? That's part of what Accenture did for China. They built these buildings where they worked down below and they lived up above, and now they got 20% unemployment. They have the fastest bullet trains in the world all over. Nobody can afford to ride them. I mean, is that our future? Is that why we're using Accenture? It doesn't make sense. Now, they've been doing their planning for 34 years. And, here we are, brink of World War III. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, you keep starting wars and people come into this country. We don't have a growth problem. If we weren't starting blowing up everybody else's country, they wouldn't be flooding in here. I mean, and then the people that have been here are homeless on the streets in San Francisco. They're homeless in Seattle. These are all places we thought were, hey, we want to copy them. We don't want to copy them. We need to be able to live with what we got. We don't need to grow. And I'll tell you, it's amazing. There were 3 lots I looked at when I considered building my house. One of them still hasn't been built on. But anyhow, time's up. Thank you.
Thank you.
That completes the first round of the public speaking.
All right. Well, we will move on into the consent agenda. Thank you all for your commentary during public comments. There have been a few changes made. However, the items have been scrolling on the screen so that you could see what has been considered there. But here are the changes. Item number 24 from Support Services has been withdrawn from the agenda. So has item number 32 related to community development. One of the alcohol approvals or withdrawal, approval or override on the approval. And an HR consent item has been revised for the no harassment policy so that is not under consideration for this vote, but the other policy changes are. So with that, I motion to approve the items on consent agenda as revised and authorize execution of necessary documents by the appropriate county personnel.
Second.
Discussion?
I would just like to acknowledge Sabrina Wright and it's agenda item number 34 for those in the audience. And I understand the owner of Results Only Fitness is here. My congratulations to you on this grant recipient.
Congratulations.
And if I may, Vice Chair, also have the liberty of thanking a business in my district, Zoet Beauty Supply, to which I am also a customer. Congratulations.
That's fantastic. All right, we have a second. We had our discussion. Call to question. And the motion passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Cupid absent. All right, let's move on into our regular agenda meeting. All right, Drew, ready for the punch. Okay. You have the floor.
There you go. Good morning, Drew Ressler again, DOT. We have 10 items for your consideration this morning. Our first item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the project number X2524 task order number 1 to the 2020 master task order contract with AECOM Technical Services Incorporated. A savings to the project in the amount of $3,370.06 for traffic signal timing, authorize a corresponding budget transaction, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question? Motion passes 4-0, Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with Chatfield Contracting Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $193,198.75 for drainage system repairs on Shadow Lake Lane. Project number B2208, authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question? Motion passes 4-0, Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. Our next item is recommend the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with D&H Construction Company Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $196,169 for drainage system repairs on Lake Ridge Drive, project number B2234. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question? Motion passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners ratify a previous action by the county manager authorizing emergency drainage repairs on Rivendell Court in response to a sinkhole. Approve project number B2288 to the 2021 countywide unit price contract with Chatfield Contracting Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $248,295 for said repairs. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question? Motion passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with Smart Road Technology LLC in an amount not to exceed $368,910.25 for Powder Springs Road at Hopkins Road, Carter Road signal rebuild, project number E5042. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Sheffield.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question? Motion passes 4-0, Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the contract with WE Contracting Company Incorporated, a savings to the project in the amount of $33,505 for drainage system repairs on Ridgewood Creek Drive, project number B2225. Authorize the corresponding budget transaction and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question? Motion passes 4-0, Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. Our next item is recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to project number B2268 to the 2021 countywide unit price contract with Chatfield Contracting Incorporated. A savings to the project in the amount of $93,705.44 for emergency drainage repairs on Eagles Crest Drive. Authorize the corresponding budget transaction and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Campbell.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question. Motion passes 4-0, Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to project number B2277 to the 2021 countywide unit price contract with Advanced Sports Construction LLC, a savings to the project in the amount of $27,287.36 for emergency drainage repairs on Pilot Mountain Way. Authorize a corresponding budget transaction and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Sheffield.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question? Motion passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. Our next item is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve the recommended ranking of the 3 most qualified firms for engineering design of Big Shanty Road widening, project number B2431, and authorize negotiations for final scope of services and fees beginning with the top-ranked firm, Gresham Smith.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve And discussion after a second.
Second. Discussion.
I would just like to say this is another example of our partnership with the Town Center CID. This has taken a long time to get to this point because of funding, and so I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
It is a great example. Thank you.
Absolutely. Call to question. Motion passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Cupid absent.
And our final item this morning is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approve project number B2437, task order number 1 to the 2022 master task order contract with Kimley Horner and Associates Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $495,292.30 for engineering design of Johnson Ferry Road at Shallowford Road intersection improvements. Authorize a corresponding budget transaction and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Absolutely so moved.
Second, and discussion. We've received several emails on the dangerous and safety issues at this intersection. So now that we're going into design, I will be forwarding those to DOT. We'll forward them to you for Kimberly Horn to look at the comments as they go through the design process.
Absolutely. And a little additional context on this one, it is a congressionally directed spending approval that the county received $5 million for this particular project on. And so there is some very tight timeframes that we've got to be able to turn the project into construction, but that does not mean that we will skip any of the important steps. So we will go through a concept development phase where we'll look at the crash history as well as the traffic patterns to determine the best solution within the available budget, and include in that an opportunity for the public to weigh in on the options available to us before we move into construction of the final product.
Thank you, Drew.
Of course.
Excellent. Any other discussion items? Call to question. Motion passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Cupid absent. Thank you, Drew.
Good morning, Commissioners, Deputy County Manager. Our item this morning is for the Board of Commissioners to approve change order number 1 deductive to the contract with Triscapes Incorporated for the Violet Stout project under the 2016 Park Splosh program. The amount represents the return of unused funds for bid item alternate number 1, which was not needed during phase 1 of construction. We ask the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 deductive to the contract with Triscapes Incorporated, representing a total credit of $125,000 to the project, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Sheffield.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Call to question.
Thank you.
Motion passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Good morning, Vice Chair, Commissioners, Deputy County Manager, County Attorney. My item this morning is about a location for the records, county record storage. The county stores records for retention in accordance with federal, state, and county record retention laws, policies, and procedures. These records are currently stored in multiple county-owned warehouses and buildings. These locations are at capacity and unable to accept new records for archiving. This has resulted in records being stored in dispersed locations throughout the county, and in many cases taking up needed space in county department offices and buildings, preventing their use of the space. After various site visits by Support Services, Property Management, Record Services, and McWhorter Realty Partners consider potential locations, we would like to recommend that the Board of Commissioners approve a purchase and sale agreement for the acquisition of real property comprised of 2 single-story office buildings on approximately 10 acres located at 1828 West Oak Parkway and 1975 West Oak Circle, Marietta, Georgia, in the form substantially similar to the attached purchase and sale agreement, and as prepared by the County Attorney's Office. Approve the payment associated land acquisition cost, approve repurposing renovation cost, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the purchase and sale agreement and all other necessary documents, and take all other action necessary or appropriate to accomplish the foregoing purposes.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, just, the motion is for the revised,
Yes, ma'am.
number 52.
As revised.
Thank you. Good job, Sharon. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you. Call to question. Motion passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Cupid absent.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, this is a big deal.
Good morning, Commissioners, Deputy County Manager. Property Management has one item this morning. Property Management would like to request the Board of Commissioners approve an agreement with Johnson Controls, Inc. in the amount of $530,000 for engineering services for the ARPA-funded Healthy County Building Initiative to implement COVID mitigation and prevention in various county facilities, and authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute any necessary documents.
So moved. Second. Discussion. Call to question. Motion passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Cupid absent, and that concludes our regular agenda. Thank you so much. Oh, yes. Well, we're public comment and then appointments. We have a few. Oh, no one's reporting. Great.
We don't have anyone else sign up for public comment.
Thank you. On to our appointments. All right, so our chairwoman is absent, and these, I believe, all the two are from the chair. So on her behalf, this is to approve the reappointment of Karen Hallisey to the Development Authority of Cobb County. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question? Motion passes 4-0, Chairwoman Cupid absent. The second appointment is to approve the reappointment of Bob Voiles to the Cobb Marietta Coliseum and Exhibit Hall Authority. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call to question. Motion passes 4-0 with Chairwoman Cupid absent. Well done, Commissioners. We are going into our public addresses, and in observation of the normal route of that, I will go last. So, Commissioner Gambrell, go ahead.
Thank you. Calling all veterans, do not miss out on this day trip to Atlanta History Center on Tuesday, June 27th. You must RSVP by June 22nd. The bus will depart at 8:30, so be there by 8 a.m. sharp. Return time is 1600 or 4 p.m. For more information, you can contact Mike Nichols at 770-528-1448. Come meet our Community Public Safety Officer, Justice. He will be at the North Cobb Regional Library on Wednesday, June 14th, from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. to offer an up-close look at his police car and answer questions like what the different tones for the sirens are and the technology inside. North Cobb Library is located at 3535 Old Highway 41 Northwest in Kennesaw, Georgia. Lastly, you're invited to join the community of Kennesaw for the third annual One Community, a Celebration of Unity event. The Kennesaw Police Department, in partnership with a team of faith and community leaders, will celebrate the community, the diversity of the community, and the unity with a family-friendly event on Saturday, June 17th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Kennesaw First Baptist Church located at 2958 North Main Street. This event is free to the public. And lastly, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, and thank you for being there and the glue that holds our families together. Thank you.
Commissioner Burrow.
It's with very heavy hearts. Cobb County is mourning our K-9 officer Chase. On June 5th, 2023, K-9 Chase passed away in the line of duty. He was a Belgian Malinois born in Hungary on August 13, 2018. Chase began his career with the Cobb County Police Department in April of 2020 with his handler, K-9 Officer Neal. Chase was a dual-purpose canine trained for narcotics detection, criminal apprehension, tracking, building searches, and evidence recovery. Chase seized thousands of dollars worth of illegal narcotics and numerous arrests and apprehensions. Chase was named after fallen Locust Grove police officer Chase Maddox, who died in the line of duty on February 9, 2018, just months before K-9 Chase was born. K-9 Chase was a beloved officer of the Cobb County Police Department and will be forever missed by all. Our condolences to Officer Neal and the entire public safety K-9 and K-9 unit especially. Join us this afternoon at 4 o'clock for Cherokee Chop House ribbon cutting. This restaurant is a wonderful addition to the Canton Road corridor. It's located at 2710 Canton Road, Marietta, and the public is invited to attend. This week on June 14th, we celebrate the U.S. Army's birthday. Remember the creation in 1775. The Army originally consisted of volunteer soldiers with roots to the Continental Army and was formed to fight the Revolutionary War. Today, as the largest branch of our nation's military, the proud men and women of the U.S. Army continue to provide peace and security for all of us. My dad was World War II Army and North Carolina National Guard retired Lieutenant Colonel. So with Father's Day coming up and the U.S. Army's birthday, it's very special. And also on June 14th, we celebrate Flag Day, which occurs every year on the anniversary of the American flag's official adoption, June 14th. What we know fondly as the Stars and Stripes was adopted by the Continental Congress as the official American flag on June 14, 1777, in the midst of the Revolutionary War. Colonial troops fought under many different flags with various symbols. Out with the old and in with the new. This Saturday, June 17th, Gritter's Library will close at 5 p.m. to allow for construction of a new Gritters at the site in Shaw Park off Canton Road in Northeast Cobb. The new facility will house a new Gritters Library, a community center, and space for the County Parks Department, community meetings, and Cobb Works workforce development programs. During the rebuild, the Mountain View Regional Library at 3320 Sandy Plains Road, Marietta will serve as a go-to location for Gritters. For more information, visit cobbcat.org. Thank you to Bells Ferry Civic Association for their quarterly cleanup. A special thanks to them and the volunteers who picked up 19 bags of roadside trash. They worked diligently to clean up Bells Ferry Road from North Lakeside Drive up to and including the very littered 575 overpass. It's good to see our youth taking part in helping their community as well. And I also want to thank Community Affairs Officer Michael Justice for keeping everyone safe during the cleanup. We had 3 Superior Pets for Patriotic Vet adoptions this weekend. And we now have a total of 239 adoptions since the start of this program. And a big thanks to Cobb County Animal Services and also to Superior Plumbing for their contributions and donation. There are lots of great animals looking for a forever home. If you're a veteran, the fee to adopt is free, and you can view available pets and find out more at cobbcounty.org/pets. On the left, we have James Fagan, U.S. Navy, 4 years. In the middle, Jeffrey Cooper, U.S. Army, 8 years. And Keisha Snyder, U.S. Air Force, 8 years, and 2 years with the Veterans Administration. So thank you all for your service and for adopting our animals. And last but not least, happy Father's Day to all. God bless.
Commissioner Sheffield.
District 4 News and Updates. June is National Alzheimer's Month. Utilize the remainder of this month as an opportunity to discuss Alzheimer's disease and other types of dementia. Alzheimer's and dementia are often used interchangeably, but there is a difference between the two. Alzheimer's is a specific disease that accounts for 60 to 80% of dementia cases. And dementia is a general term for symptoms like a decline in memory, reasoning, or other thinking skills. About 1 in 9 people aged 65 and older has Alzheimer's. For more information and statistics, please visit alz.org. On Saturday, June 3rd, members from our community join me for my annual district-wide cleanup. Thanks to my fellow elected officials, D.A. Brody, Representative Terry Cummings, and the City of Mableton council members. Other volunteers included Keep Cobb Beautiful and its District 4 appointees, Cobb DOT and code enforcement staff members, District 4 Adopt a Mile partners, ACT and MEG as our civic groups, Walmart provided breakfast, Mooyah Burgers provided lunch, and DJ Rollum provided the music to get us warmed up. Lastly, thanks to my assistant Deidre and to all of our countless volunteers for your time and service. We had a total of 125 volunteers, and together we collected over 840 pounds of litter. Thank you for rolling up your sleeves and helping to keep our community clean. Hope Family Resource Center is seeking your assistance with their back-to-school fundraiser. Book bags and school supplies are needed for the upcoming school year. There are 3 ways that you can donate. 1, visit hopefamilyresourcecenter.org, or you can drop your donations off at 6108 Mableton Parkway, Suite 116 in Mableton, now through July 17th, between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, or you can text 770-525-0565 to donate. For more information, please call 678-310-0525. Are you looking for something fun and exciting to do this summer? Why not visit the Mabel House Amphitheater and take in a concert or enjoy one of our Wind Down Wednesday series? This year's concert series lineup has artists such as Brian McKnight, Stephanie Mills, Avery Sunshine, and many more R&B artists. The Wednesday Wind Down series features local talents. Grab your lawn chairs and baskets and head over to one of the free Wind Down Wednesday concerts. And you'll see from the flyer that it starts at 8 p.m., but starting in July, we will push that up to 7 o'clock. Is that right, Brantley? Okay. To purchase tickets, visit mabelhouse.org/amphitheater or stop by the box office 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. The Cobb County Farm Bureau is looking for volunteers to help grow their wellness garden. The wellness garden features 15 garden beds, each 12 feet by 4 feet, along with a pollinator garden and hoop house. If you know someone who wants to help them help others, please contact Gail Bender at Bender, B-E-N-D-E-R, Gail, G-A-Y-L-E, 21@gmail.com. Cobb County government offices will be closed on Monday, June 19th in honor of Juneteenth. Juneteenth celebrations began on June 19th, 1865, when the last African-American slaves held in Confederate states were finally freed by the Union Army. The day was first recognized as a federal holiday in 2021 when President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Act into law after the efforts of Lula Briggs Galloway, Opal Lee, and others. To find events around Cobb, visit cobbcounty.org communications/news and select Juneteenth events. And finally, I don't have a slide, but I wish all of our fathers happy Father's Day and those who have stood in the gap to be a father. Happy Father's Day to you as well.
Thank you. So many wonderful things going on. And for Juneteenth, my comments are really ditto for what everyone's already said. I will skip the prelude there. But please enjoy the different festivities because it is truly something to celebrate. I think freedom it runs in this country and we have to keep pushing for it. So next, from the office. Yes, we have a couple of updates here. So Thursday, if anyone's been to our community huddles on Saturdays, well, our office is excited to announce there will now be a Thursday option to attend the biweekly community huddles. These huddles are important for members of the community. We hop on a Zoom call virtually, and it's really to discuss anything that's on your mind, any questions you may have. And it's also a really great way to meet other people from around the district. We have these huddles now for Thursday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 11 a.m., and hopefully I extended my talk time long enough for you to capture the QR code if you're interested. Next, Smyrna's Art Proclamation. So this past Tuesday, we were proud to present Mayor Norton of Smyrna with a proclamation to celebrate the Smyrna Art and Culture Task Force. The Smyrna Artery was stood up by Mayor Norton, and that particular task force is committed to contributing the beautification to the beautification of Cobb County by introducing the public art pathway and other initiatives to bring public art to Smyrna. We're excited on what the task force will bring to the community next, and they are a wonderful partner in all of our initiatives around the arts. From the community, Shirley Chisholm is unbossed and unbowed. Please mark your calendars for June 17th at 7 p.m. for an amazing show that is coming to the Sewell Mill Library. Unbossed and Unbowed is the story of Shirley Chisholm, the first African-American woman to be elected to the United States Congress and the first Black woman to run for President of the United States. This one-woman show is going to be a memorable and inspiring performance because it brings in a lot of historic events, notable events throughout that story. So certainly if you want to get that full immersive experience, please register today. And because everyone wants a piece of June, everyone has a piece of June, we've got the Smyrna Pride event going on to celebrate Pride Month. Smyrna is Fabulous is hosting their 2023 Pride Festival in Smyrna at the Smyrna Market Village on Saturday, June 17th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. This is a family-friendly free event with local vendors, food, family activities, and a DJ. For more information, please visit smyrnaisfabulous.org. And I also do not have a slide on this, but happy Father's Day and heartfelt thank you to my father, where I think one of the greatest lessons I've learned from him is the importance of persevering and following through, something that he remarked all throughout my childhood and has certainly come into play throughout adult life. So with that ends my remarks, and I need to do a motion really quickly. A motion for us to go into exec, and it is my intent that we go in about 15 minutes. Enough time, is that agreeable to the board? Excellent, so motion to go into exec. Second. Call to question. Motion passes 4-0 with chairwoman absent. Now, that adjourns our meeting for today. Thank you.